Hi, I'm Ilya from Bitskout, and this is a how-to video to build a scenario to process HARO emails. As you've probably seen in the last video, we have showed how you can extract information from help a reporter out emails and put it into Airtable or Monday or ClickUp or any other tool that you use. And in this video, we wanted to show you how exactly do that. So we're gonna replicate this whole scenario step by step. So let's start. Okay, so we're gonna replicate this scenario and we're gonna assume that you're using Gmail, but if later on there will be questions, I will put into the article how to use it with Microsoft Outlook. Okay, so first thing that we need to do is create a scenario in Make, and this is called HARO emails 2. The first step that we need to do is to add trigger. In Make, there is an event that happens in some system, and based on this event, we trigger the rest. Okay. In our case, the event is appearing of help a reporter out email. Okay. When this email comes, that's what we need to do. So we take our first module as a trigger, and we're gonna watch emails. Okay, here you need to choose the folder. If you don't use any labels in Gmail, you can just choose inbox. If you use labels, you choose the correct label here, and choose here a Gmail filter. Okay, in this case, we're gonna limit the emails to only high-tech queries, because in order for you to show it, I don't want to run on the whole email. It's 200 questions usually, and it just takes too much time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a filter, and this filter will say that if subject contains high tech, okay, then that's the one I want. And here we say maximum number of results. So like in one go, how many emails you want to process. Typically you want to process it only one email, and this scenario will be triggered every 15 minutes. Okay, every 15 minutes it will check if there is an email, it will process one email. If there are two emails, the second one will be processed next in the next iteration. Okay, next 15 minutes. So you also want to do that change that you run it only on weekdays. Okay, because otherwise you are consuming the capacity in Make. All right, first item done. Okay, so the next thing is what we want to do is to parse the email itself. Okay, so let me explain. So this is an email. So first you have an index, and then these are the questions, and then each question or query is separated by this line. Okay, this one. And what it means is that we want to analyze each line, each query, but we don't want to analyze this part. I mean, that's not important for us. What's important for us is this part. Okay, this one and this one. Okay, and each iteration of our analysis will be focused on extracting information from this query, because that's what we're targeting. That's what we want to analyze to see if we need to respond to it or see the trends. Okay, so this means that if we go over email and we find this line and we use it as a split functionality, this will allow us to get the information of each and every query. All right, so let me show you. We need to add an array here, iterator. So in this case, what we do is we go over a text content, and we need to use a special feature in Make called split. Okay, it is in text and binary functions, and that's what it is. So what it says is that if you have a long line, and our email is just basically a lot of text, okay, and you want to split this line into components using some separator, you need to use this function. In this example, they split using comma. So in the output of the iterator of this function of the split will be 3 names at 3 different elements. That's what we want, because then we're going to go each element and analyze it. It's called an array. So what we do is we do a split. We put here the text content. Do not put HTML. You need text. And then what we do is we copy from our email that I showed you. We just copy this line. Okay? Just this line. And that's it. So now we have our iterator. Okay, so let's do one test. Okay, let's run it anyway. All right, here we have our email and the output of the transformer. As you can see, there are lots of items. Okay. And as you can see, we've managed to split it into several items. So there are approximately 10 items. Now, it's important to note that the first part, the first item, is actually, we don't want that. All right? We don't want that because it contains all this kind of technical information about what's the list of questions and etc. And also the last item, as you can see, is just again a technical information about the email. So it's just the last part of the email that is not actually a query. So what we need to do is in the next step, before our analysis, we need to add a filter. Okay, and that's what we're gonna do. So our next step is the analysis. So we will extract the information using Bitskout from text. All right, and for that, we're gonna go to Bitskout and we're gonna create a new plugin. So we go to plugins, press create, then we need to extract information from text, and here we need to put our text. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take just one query, whatever it is, and put it here. And then our system will read this text and understand the items. Okay, and let's take summary as well. Next, because we're using make, we don't need to write anything anywhere. So here, let's call it HARO emails and general data. Okay, and that's it. Now we have our email, so let's use it in make. It's called HARO general data, and we need to run it in text on value. Okay, so what will happen here? Email comes in, we split it into items, and iterator will go over each item, will extract the information using Bitskout on each item, and now we want to write it somewhere. Okay, in our scenario, let's write it to Airtable. Okay, so we need to create a record. This is analysis of the emails table, and we just need to add items. Okay, we can take full text just in case, just to have the full query here. We're gonna take the name of the journalist. And by the way, right now we cannot see it. So we need to run it once to get the list of fields, these ones. Okay, and in this case we already have our fields. So what we do a summary here, then we have a name, we have an email, we have a media outlet, we also have a deadline. No, we don't have deadline here. And we have requirements, which we don't extract, and then keywords and expert field. These are additional items that you can extract. Okay, so now, let's run it once again. Now we have everything mapped, and now it will start creating records in Airtable. Okay, one by one, it will go over and over again, creating new items, as you can see here. All right. So now imagine that you want to do something else, like we showed you. You want to do keywords. So what you need to do is you need to go to plugins in Bitskout and just create a new plugin that just extracts the keywords. Okay, here it is. We're not gonna add examples because examples allow you to kind of fine-tune the keywords that you need. We're just gonna create the ones. Okay, again, we don't need to write anything anywhere. If this was a Monday or a Asana, then you will probably want to write it somewhere, but we run it in Make, so we are mapping this out ourselves. So next, let's HARO keywords. And that's it. Now you have a new item called keywords. And what you need to do is you need to add another module from Bitskout, run it for text. And it will be HARO keywords. You would probably want to run it on the full text. You can run it on just summary, okay, and full, but we're gonna run it on the whole thing. Okay, and once the keywords are extracted, you can map them into here. Again, you need one run just to refresh the Bitskout module and what it has. So we're gonna make a mistake and then we're gonna run it once. Okay, so let's run it and we will see our keywords, and the record will not be created in the Airtable because we made an error, so it stops. So we can then, okay, so here are our keywords. Okay, so sometimes Bitskout modules give you a JSON. That's okay, because then we're just gonna parse it, and that's not a very difficult thing to do. The reason for that is we are updating constantly Make, and sometimes the plugin output is not yet updated, but eventually every custom fields will be like keywords and etc. So we need to run it once again because I want to have the value of this JSON here. Okay, by the way, you don't need to run the whole thing, you can just run one module. Okay, now as you can see, I have this one. This is the keywords. So I'm gonna go and delete this thing and take the value here. All right, so now let's delete those things that we have already created. Okay. All right, and now let's run it. And now it will not only be adding a new line, it will be adding keywords for us. Okay, let's see how it runs. Okay, so here are our keywords. And then step by step, you can add more modules, more analysis, and you can convert these keywords into something else. But now this is how it works. You can replicate this scenario yourself. It's very straightforward, and it's a very important source of information. Okay, thanks a lot for your time.